I had always been a quiet, reserved woman who preferred the anonymity of my small apartment in the dimly lit building on Elm Street. I had my routines, my solitude, and for years, my life had been blissfully uneventful. My neighbours, mostly strangers who came and went without making a fuss, never stirred my curiosity. But that all changed the day Mr. Turner moved in next door. His arrival felt like an ominous disturbance in the tranquil harmony of the building. From the moment he arrived, there was something undeniably unsettling about him. His wiry frame and gaunt face gave him an eerie appearance, but it was his eyes that sent shivers down my spine. They were a cold, pale blue, and they seemed to watch my every move. At first, I tried to dismiss my unease as mere paranoia. After all, the world was full of eccentric characters. But as the weeks passed, the evidence of Mr. Turner's peculiarities became impossible to ignore. He rarely left his apartment, and when he did, it was always under the cover of night. I would occasionally cross paths with him in the hallway, and the brief encounters were enough to send my heart racing. He never spoke, only offered a sinister smile that seemed to hide something malevolent beneath the surface. Strange noises emanated from his unit at odd hours, muffled thuds, whispered voices, and the occasional high-pitched wail. Sleep became elusive as I lay in my bed, haunted by the unsettling sounds that seeped through the thin walls. One evening, curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to investigate. I tiptoed down the dimly lit hallway, my heart pounding in my chest. I pressed my ear against Mr. Turner's door and listened intently. What I heard chilled me to the bone. Inside, there was a strange rhythmic chanting, accompanied by the sound of dripping water. It was as if Mr. Turner was performing some sort of macabre ritual. The chanting grew louder and more frenzied, and I couldn't take it any longer. I hurried back to my apartment, my mind racing. Over the next few weeks, I became obsessed with uncovering the truth about my mysterious neighbour. I began researching his background and discovered a string of unsettling incidents that seemed to follow him wherever he went. There were rumours of disappearances and strange occurrences in every city he'd lived in. One night, unable to bear the suspense any longer, I decided to confront Mr. Turner. I knocked on his door, my voice trembling as I called out his name. There was no response. I tried the doorknob, and to my surprise, it was unlocked. I pushed the door open slowly and stepped inside. The apartment was dimly lit, and the air was thick with an acrid metallic smell. My eyes were drawn to the center of the room, where a large ornate pentagram had been drawn on the floor in what looked like dried blood. In the middle of the pentagram lay a lifeless body, surrounded by candles and strange symbols. I gasped in horror, realizing the truth about my neighbor. Mr. Turner was not just suspicious. He was a deranged cultist, performing dark rituals in the heart of our apartment building. Before I could react, I heard footsteps approaching from behind. I turned to see Mr. Turner standing in the doorway, his pale blue eyes locking onto mine. He wore a grotesque pig mask made of real pigskin, its vacant eyes staring into my soul. In that moment, I knew I was in grave danger. I had stumbled into a nightmare, and there was no way out. As Mr. Turner advanced towards me, a wicked smile on his face, my world descended into a living hell of darkness and terror, trapped in an apartment building with a neighbour from my worst nightmares.